In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 NBA games happening on February 11th, 2026, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Memphis Grizzlies versus Denver Nuggets. The Memphis Grizzlies head into Ball Arena on Wednesday to face the Denver Nuggets, with the visitors trying to steady themselves against a home team that has not exactly been cruising either. Memphis comes in off losses to the Trail Blazers and the Warriors, with the Jazz waiting for them after this spot, and that kind of schedule can feel like running on a treadmill that never slows down when you have already dropped 15 of your last 21 games. Denver is not flying high either, as it was just beaten by the Cavs, squeezed past the Bulls, and now has the Clippers coming up after this, even though it has still managed to win 11 of its last 19 overall. The injury lists paint a big part of this picture. Memphis is still without Ja Morant, Zach Edey, Brandon Clark, and Santi Aldama, so every game feels like a patchwork job where role players keep getting pushed up a spot in the pecking order. On the other side, the Nuggets have Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson ruled out and Spencer Jones sitting in that annoying questionable tag, which keeps the rotation in a bit of flux even if the core is still there. Even with that, the market has treated Denver like a huge favorite at home against a Memphis team that looks ice cold on the surface. Yet the funny thing is that the Grizzlies have quietly been competing harder than their reputation suggests. That narrow loss to the Warriors on Monday, where they stayed in the fight much longer than most people expected, is a good reminder that they have not completely checked out. The Nuggets have dropped 4 of their last 5, and the defense has not exactly inspired confidence, which makes it hard to trust them to win big on command even in their own building. They have been grinding just to stay afloat for weeks given their own injury issues, and that kind of stretch often leads to games where they lean more on simply getting the result than on running up a margin. Memphis is absolutely not winning much, and their injury report looks like a running joke at this point, but the team has still managed to cover in 4 of its last 5 games because the lines keep getting pumped up against them. Those inflated numbers create a little breathing room for a team that is still playing hard, even if the ceiling is low right now. Honestly, this sets up as the kind of night where Denver would probably be satisfied to escape with a solid home win rather than blow the doors off, which makes the generous cushion for Memphis feel too rich. As our first pick for this matchup, the Memphis Grizzlies to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Memphis is averaging 115.3 points per game on 45.6% shooting from the field, while giving up 117 points on 46.5% shooting, and that combination of decent offense with a leaky defense usually pushes games into higher scoring territory. From the perimeter, the Grizzlies are hitting 34.9% of their threes and knocking down 79.9% at the free throw line, which keeps their offense from stalling out completely even when the lineup is patched together. Defensively, they allow opponents to shoot 35.8% from deep and they pull down 45.8 rebounds per game, which hints at a lot of long misses and second chances, both of which tend to help the scoreboard keep moving. Denver brings an even hotter offensive profile into this matchup, averaging 120.7 points on 49.6% shooting. And that level of efficiency usually forces the opponent to keep scoring just to stay attached. The Nuggets are giving up 116.2 points on 46.8% shooting, so their own defense is not exactly putting a lid on games either. From 3, they are drilling 39.5%, and they are cashing 81.8% of their free throws, which is exactly the kind of shooting mix that punishes any sloppy rotations or late closeouts. They hold opponents to 35% from deep and grab 42.3 rebounds per game, numbers that suggest they can still control stretches, but not to the point of turning this into a grind. Put together, you have one team that scores efficiently and defends loosely, facing another that can still put up solid offensive numbers while also giving plenty back on the other end. With both groups comfortable shooting from outside and reliable at the stripe, and with neither defense in particularly sharp form lately, the setup leans toward a game where scoring swings come often and the total has room to land on the higher side. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Oklahoma City Thunder versus Phoenix Suns. The Oklahoma City Thunder and Phoenix Suns meet Wednesday in NBA action at the Mortgage Matchup Center. The matchup drops both teams into a spot where recent form, travel, and fatigue all matter a little more than usual. The Thunder are coming off a loss to the Rockets followed by a bounce-back win over the Lakers, with the Bucks on deck next, so their schedule is not exactly soft, but it has not rattled them much. They have still won 45 of their last 58 regular season games, which quietly says a lot about how steady they have become over a long stretch. Even when they cool off for a week or two, the broader pattern is that they regroup, tighten up, and respond with focused games like that gritty win against the Lakers. The Suns, on their side, just took a loss to the 76ers, then turned around and beat the Mavericks, and now they have the Spurs coming up after this one. They have taken 8 of their last 13 games, and that run reflects a team that has not fully clicked every night but still finds ways to stack wins when the talent shows up. There is a bit of that hot and cold feeling around them, where one night they look sharp and the next night they are chasing the game. Injuries tilt the board a bit. The Thunder are still missing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Ajay Mitchell, which forces others into bigger roles and puts more pressure on their depth to handle ball handling and late-game decision-making. The Suns have ruled out Grayson Allen, Isaiah Livers, and Cole Anthony, so they lose some spacing, some energy, and a bit of backcourt support, which can show up in the legs on a back-to-back. The scheduling spot is not friendly to Phoenix. The Thunder arrive with that Lakers win in the rear view and some juice from it, while the Suns are playing the second game of a back-to-back set, which often chips away at defensive focus and late-game execution, especially against a team that keeps coming at you. These teams already know each other well this season. They have met 3 times, with the Thunder leading the series 2-1, which builds a nice little layer of familiarity into how both coaching staffs approach this matchup. The Suns did take one of those meetings, a tight 108-105 win back on January 4th, and that kind of scoreline hints that this pairing tends to tilt toward close finishes rather than outright blowouts. That history, plus the current form, points toward another competitive game where runs go both ways and neither side fully pulls away for long. Even with that expectation of a close contest, the underlying edges still lean toward Oklahoma City. Their broader regular season body of work is stronger, they are not dealing with the same immediate back-to-back fatigue, and their group has shown that it can handle late-game pressure in these kinds of spots. The Suns can absolutely hang in, but asking them to control the full 48 minutes here, with their injury list and schedule, feels a touch ambitious compared to what the Thunder have been doing over months, not just days. That is why, even in a game that can stay tight, the more convincing path still runs through Oklahoma City taking care of business and covering as the favorite by the final horn. As our first pick for this matchup, the Oklahoma City Thunder to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Thunder are averaging 120.9 points on 49.2% shooting from the field, while allowing just 107.9 points on 43.2% shooting, and that combination of efficient scoring with a firm but not suffocating defense often leads to stretches where they control tempo without completely stalling the other team. They are hitting 35.9% from beyond the arc and 82.4% from the free throw line, numbers that show how comfortable they are punishing fouls and small coverage mistakes. They allow opponents to shoot 37.3% from 3 and grab 43.6 rebounds per game, which keeps the door open for the other side to get hot from deep or extend possessions with extra boards. The Suns bring their own steady offensive output to the table. They are averaging 113.6 points on 46% shooting and allowing 111.4 points on 46.8% shooting. So both ends of the floor are active and their games rarely feel stuck in the mud. They shoot 36.5% from beyond the arc and 79.7% at the free throw line, which means that when they get into rhythm, they can match scoring runs with efficient trips from outside and at the stripe. Defensively, they allow 34.7% shooting from deep and grab 42.9 rebounds per game, a profile that is solid but not restrictive enough to consistently keep a high-powered offense like Oklahoma City from finding seams. When you put those numbers alongside the situational context, you get a matchup that leans toward steady scoring rather than a grind. One team consistently pushes toward the 120-point range with strong efficiency, the other hangs in the 100 teens while conceding a similar band, and both are capable from three and reliable at the line. Rebounds and three-point percentages on both sides suggest that there will be extra possessions, long rebounds, and the occasional quick burst in transition rather than long droughts. The overall picture is one of a game where scoring swings trade back and forth enough for the final tally to land on the higher side of the projected number. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Sacramento Kings versus Utah Jazz. The Sacramento Kings and Utah Jazz meet Wednesday in NBA action at the Delta Center. The matchup drops two struggling groups into the same arena, which usually makes things more about who can hold it together for 4 quarters than who has the higher ceiling. The Kings come in after losses to the Pelicans and Cavs, with the Magic waiting for them next on the schedule. They have dropped 13 straight games, which is the kind of skid that starts to weigh on everything from body language to shot selection. The Jazz are not exactly rolling either. They lost to the Magic, then turned around and beat that same Magic team, and now they face the Trail Blazers next. They have lost 17 of their last 22 games, so while the recent win helps, the larger trend still leans heavily toward inconsistency and frustration. The injury report makes the Kings look completely gutted. Russell Westbrook, Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, and Domantas Sabonis are all out, which strips away playmaking, spacing, scoring, and interior presence all at once. The Jazz are still without Keontae George and Walker Kessler, so they lose a key guard piece and a major rim presence again, which limits how much they can change their identity from night to night. Backing either side with real confidence right now feels like trying to build a house on sand. The Jazz did at least show something in that upset win over the Heat on Monday, playing with better energy and enough toughness to pull it out. Against this version of the Kings, who are missing almost every major piece and dragging a 13-game losing streak behind them, that kind of performance can be more than enough to take control of a game. The hesitation comes when you look at how the number is framed, not just who is on the court. The Kings look like a team that has no interest in sparking a turnaround, and that makes any support for them feel uncomfortable, even for a single night. At the same time, the idea of the Jazz laying a sizable margin is wild. They are deliberately sitting important players and making choices that clearly do not prioritize winning, which turns them into one of the last teams you want to trust as a favorite with a cushion. This will be only the third time since March that the Jazz are favored by 5 or more points, and that kind of rarity tells its own story. Handing points with a group that appears to be trying to lose more often than not feels almost reckless, especially against a desperate opponent that has nothing to lose. Taking the ugly dog feels uncomfortable, but fading a team in that situation at a steep price feels even worse. As our first pick for this matchup, the Sacramento Kings to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Sacramento Kings are averaging 110.5 points on 46.5% shooting and allowing 120.6 points on 49.2% shooting. They are shooting 34.9% from beyond the arc and 77.3% from the free throw line, which keeps the offense functional even when the roster is patched together. They are allowing 35.7% shooting from deep and grabbing 41.1 rebounds per game, a mix that hints at plenty of clean looks for opponents and enough missed shots to create extra possessions. The Utah Jazz have an even louder scoring and conceding profile. They are averaging 118.3 points on 46.8% shooting and allowing 126.9 points on 49.2% shooting. They are shooting 35% from beyond the arc and 79.9% from the free throw line, so when they settle in, they can keep the points coming from outside and at the stripe. They are allowing 37.8% shooting from deep and grabbing 43.7 rebounds per game, which points toward a lot of open perimeter looks for the opponent and enough rebounding activity to generate second-chance scoring. Putting those numbers together paints a clear picture. One team gives up over 120 points per night while scoring at a respectable rate, and the other scores well while surrendering even more on the defensive end. Neither defense has shown much ability to consistently string together stops, and the shooting percentages from 3 and the free throw line on both sides suggest that trips will keep ending with points rather than empty possessions. Rebounding numbers that hover in the low to mid-40s add to the expectation of extra opportunities, long rebounds, and broken floor situations where both teams can get easier looks. In a matchup like this, the combination of shaky defense, capable scoring, and plenty of chances usually leans toward a final tally that climbs past the projected number. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. San Antonio Spurs versus Golden State Warriors. The San Antonio Spurs and Golden State Warriors meet Wednesday in NBA action at the Chase Center. Two teams with very different vibes right now, but plenty of storylines, end up sharing the same court. The Spurs are coming in with real momentum after taking down the Mavs and then the Lakers, with the Suns waiting for them next on the schedule. They have won 10 of their last 13 games, which is not just a little hot streak. It is a clear sign that this young group is starting to figure things out together. The Warriors, on the other hand, are coming off a loss to the Lakers, then a win over the Grizzlies, and they will see the Celtics after this one. They have won 16 of their last 26, so the record looks respectable, but it has not always felt comfortable, especially when the injuries pile up. The scheduling spot leans toward San Antonio. The Spurs did play last night, but they did not have to strain much against a depleted Lakers squad, so the young legs should still have plenty left in the tank. For a roster built on energy and pace, that kind of light workload can almost feel like a warm-up. The Warriors are banged up and just struggled to put away the Grizzlies, even as a 9-point favorite, which hints at how thin the margin can be for them when they are not close to full strength. Here is the thing, San Antonio just saw the exact kind of matchup they are getting again. They faced a short-handed Lakers team that simply could not keep up for 4 quarters, and now they draw a Warriors group that has its own injury issues and physical wear. If the Spurs bring the same focus, ball movement, and energy they showed last night, it is easy to imagine a similar script, with the other side slowly falling behind and struggling to answer the pressure. An undermanned opponent that cannot quite hang for the full game gives this Spurs group a very real edge, especially in the current form they are carrying. As our first pick for this matchup, the San Antonio Spurs to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The San Antonio Spurs are averaging 117.7 points on 47.5% shooting and allowing 112.2 points on 45.5% shooting. They are shooting 34.8% from beyond the arc and 78.3% from the free throw line, which means they can keep pressure on the defense with both perimeter looks and steady trips to the stripe. They are allowing 36.1% shooting from deep and grabbing 46.6 rebounds per game, numbers that suggest plenty of three-point attempts and enough boards to generate second-chance points. The Golden State Warriors bring their own steady offensive punch. They are averaging 116.2 points on 46.1% shooting and allowing 114 points on 47% shooting. They are shooting 36.5% from beyond the arc and 81.2% from the free throw line, so when the shots fall, they can stack points in a hurry from outside and at the line. They are allowing 35.4% shooting from deep and grabbing 42.7 rebounds per game, which keeps games open and flowing rather than bogged down in half-court rock fights. Put all of that together and you get a matchup built for offense rather than a defensive grind. Both teams score in the mid to high 100 teens on average, both allow triple-digit totals on the regular, and both lean on three-point shooting and free throws to keep the numbers climbing. Rebounding on both sides should feed extra possessions, and the shooting percentages point toward more made shots than empty trips once the rhythm settles in. In a game where neither defense is likely to lock things up for long stretches, the setup leans strongly toward a final score that lands on the higher side of the projected number. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.